Every day, we trust our lives to an invisible net of government rules. When you drive across a suspension bridge, you expect the thousands of tons of steel holding you up to be rigorously tested and entirely safe. We rely on government watchdogs to act as a barrier. They are supposed to inspect the products we buy, regulate the vehicles we travel in, and ensure international trade doesn't unfairly crush local businesses. But the people writing these rules face enormous pressure from the very corporations they are supposed to police. Frequently, they design those barriers to benefit the corporate giants instead of the public. This diagram shows how the rulebook splits into two distinct forces. On the international stage, we have protectionism. Domestically, we have regulatory capture. Both forces manipulate the system to control prices and avoid safety standards. When the system is legally rigged for a select group of insiders, the exact laws meant to protect our economic garden end up protecting the weeds that have taken it over. Protectionism is a national strategy to block foreign goods from entering a country. Think of it as building a high, heavy fence around a local garden so that only domestic plants can survive, shutting out international competition. The most common tool to build this fence is a tariff. A tariff is simply an artificial tax added to a foreign product at the border to make it artificially more expensive than the local alternative. In 2018, the United States applied a sweeping 25% tariff on imported steel. The goal was to force buyers to purchase American steel instead, shielding local factory workers from cheaper overseas metals. Governments also use quotas, which place strict mathematical limits on how many items can be imported, and subsidies, which are direct cash bonuses given to local companies using taxpayer money. The European Union hands out roughly 58 billion euros in agricultural subsidies every single year to protect these local farms from outside competition. Meanwhile, China utilizes over $300 billion in subsidies to forcefully grow its own domestic high-tech industries, giving them a massive cash advantage over foreign tech companies. The intention behind these rules is usually practical. They provide a safe practice field for brand new businesses to find their footing, and they keep domestic factory workers employed. This chart shows the direct result for consumers. When a heavy tariff drops onto the imported toy, a $5 item becomes $7. Protectionism saves specific local jobs, but it severely limits public choice and directly forces everyday families to pay inflated prices. If protectionism shields corporations from foreign rivals, regulatory capture is the exact same mechanism applied at home, but instead of shielding companies from competition, it shields them from domestic safety laws. Regulatory capture occurs when a government watchdog agency becomes entirely subservient to the very industry it is legally mandated to police. This flowchart illustrates the primary mechanism behind this corruption, the revolving door. Corporate executives leave their companies to take high-level government jobs, regulating their former peers. And regulators eventually leave government to take high-paying jobs at the companies they just regulated. Over time, this constant swapping creates cultural capture. When the exact same people write the rules and run the corporations, government officials start to think, act, and prioritize profits exactly like the corporate insiders they are meant to watch. The Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC, stands as a prime example of a captured financial watchdog. The SEC missed Bernie Madoff's massive multi-billion-dollar fraud for years. One major reason for this blind spot was that 219 former SEC employees had left the agency to work directly for the financial firms they were supposed to be investigating. This capture extends directly to physical safety. The Federal Aviation Administration developed a documented culture of coziness with airline executives, resulting in 46% of airline safety concerns being actively ignored. The real-world consequence is that regulators allowed major carriers like Southwest Airlines to keep flying outdated planes without conducting the legally required safety checks. The environmental costs are equally catastrophic. Following the Deepwater Horizon disaster, captured regulators immediately allowed oil companies to resume rapid, unchecked offshore drilling. Agencies are often starved for funding, lacking the resources to do their own independent research. Companies use regulator shopping to find the friendliest watchdogs, turning these agencies into taxpayer-funded shields for corporate negligence. Protectionism and regulatory capture look different on paper, but they share the exact same architectural DNA. Whether a government applies a massive import tax on foreign electronics or deliberately looks the other way during an airplane safety check, the ultimate goal is identical. The clear winners are the insiders. Domestic producers and captured industries reap higher, guaranteed profits because they no longer have to worry about the threat of fair competition. This scale shows who loses: the outsiders. Everyday consumers and small businesses are forced to absorb higher costs at the register, accept fewer choices in the market, and endure dangerous products in their homes. We cannot afford to blindly trust the rulebook. True fair trade and reliable public safety require constant vigilance over the rulemakers themselves. We must ensure they build fences to protect the entire public, not just a favored few.